You are live. All right, you are live.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Board of Education meeting for September. Happy to see all of our students and educators back in the auditorium. Looking forward to recognizing our students and educators of the month. But for now, let's start with some regular old administrative stuff. And the Pledge of Allegiance is the first thing up after we do the reading of the Open Public Meeting Statement, which says that the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies, at which time any business affecting their interests is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act and Board of Education Policy 0162, the Board of Education of the Borough of Bound Brook has caused notice of this meeting to be posted in the board office and at Bound Brook High School and mailed or faxed to the Courier News, Bound Brook Borough Clerk, South Bound Brook Board of Education, and any person who has requested individual notice and paid the required fee. Please stand for the I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Corsi, roll call, please. Sir. Mr. Bass.
Here.
Mr. Dawson.
Here.
Mr. Zeno.
Yeah.
Ms. Lima. Mr. Zupko.
Here.
Ms. Musa.
Here.
Mr. Minhas.
Here.
Ms. Hyde. Mr. Volmer. Here. And Mr. Januzzi. Here. Mr. Board President, you have a quorum present this evening. Thank you very much. I will actually just skip right over the president's comments so that we can get to my favorite part of the meeting, our superintendent. Dr. Freeman?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's good to see everybody. Welcome to our October board meeting. Tonight's the first night that we'll be recognizing our employees of the month and our students of the month. But before we do that, I just want to give a shout out to all of our administrators and teachers. This year, we're in our 29th day. We're at the point now where all the changes are in place. Things are running well, and it wouldn't be possible without the strong effort from our administration and our teachers. So I want to give them a shout out for that. If you could give them a round of applause. We're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and the teachers are really pushing and celebrating the accomplishments of our Latino American community members and what they've done for our community. To really push that issue, to teach our kids to celebrate the culture and how important our diversity is, how strong diversity makes us. So I want to commend them for that as well. So without further ado, as President said, we're going to move on to our Students of the Month. I would ask Dr. S to come forth to introduce the Lamont Students of the Month.
Good evening. Congratulations to Leonardo Bolanos. Leonardo has two older siblings. His favorite subject is learning the alphabet and playing on the playground. He loves playing soccer, basketball. He loves to run, play with his big brother, and watch TV. His career plans is I want to be a famous soccer player. His teacher, Ms. Capallo, wanted me to read this. I chose Leonardo for the Student of the Month because of his positive and upbeat personality, leadership skills, and caring personality. From the moment Leo walks into the school until the moment we leave for the day, Leo's the happiest student in the room. Leo's always a supportive and caring friend to his classmates. He comes in every day at school ready to ask many questions and participates during instruction. He enjoys building blocks and playing with table toys with his friends. No matter what time of the day it is, you can always find Leo with a big smile on his face and ready to learn. Congratulations, Leno.
Oh, how nice. So we're gonna.
Oh, no, this
Here,
I'm gonna go
here, bud.
Right here. for the kindergarten Lamont Annex School. Congratulations to Hannah Leigh Cabrera. Hannah Leigh has a 2-year-old little sister named Goldie. Her favorite subject is literacy lab because she likes to pick out books to read from the school's library. She enjoys going to indoor places. When she grows up, she wants to be a nurse to help people like her grandma. Hannah Leigh was selected for Student of the Month because she's an active participant in class and always a helpful friend to her classmates. Congratulations, Hannah Leigh.
How beautiful. And next up for Lafayette, we have Ms. Quejas.
Good evening. Our first student of the month is Celine Cordero Fuertes. She has a twin sister, Sophia Rose. Her favorite school subject is math. Her favorite hobbies are creative and doing crafts, and she wants to be an artist when she grows up. Congratulations.
Smile.
Another round of applause.
Our next student of the month is Victor Medina Godoy. He has a younger brother. His favorite school subject is math, art, and physical education. He loves drawing and playing soccer, and he wants to be an artist as well when he grows up.
One last round of applause. And next up for Smalley School, Ms. Carbone.
Our third grade student of the month is Thiago Torres Ramirez. He is in third grade in Miss Esposito's class. He has one older sister. His favorite subject is math. He loves to play video games, and he wants to be a soccer player or a basketball player when he gets older. Congratulations, Thiago.
Smile. You guys are nailing it today.
Smalley's fourth grade student of the month is Caitlin Velasco Dominguez. Caitlin has one older brother, Alan, and another older brother, Benny, and they're both at the middle school. Caitlin's favorite subject in school is math and writing. Her favorite hobbies are drawing, hanging out with friends, and making bracelets. When she gets older, she says, I want to sell houses and be a realtor. Congratulations, Caitlin.
Car garage one. Congratulations. Can you back up a little bit? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Didn't notice that. Good job.
The Smalley Elementary School fifth grade student of the month is Koriyama Contreras. She is in fifth grade in Ms. Riley's class, and she has one younger brother. Her favorite subjects are math and ELA, and for favorite hobbies, she says, I love to read. When Koriyama gets older, she would like to be a lawyer. Congratulations, Koriyama. Smalley Elementary School sixth grade student of the month is, I just saw him, Dylan Espinoza Rodriguez. Dylan has one little brother. He says, I like history or phys ed. He loves to play soccer as his favorite hobby. And when he grows up, he wants to be a soccer player. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mrs. Carbone. Next up, we have Mr. Sid Server from Community Middle School.
Hello, everybody. Of course, I've got two and I'm out of order. Our first student of the month from Community Middle School is Hugo Morales. Hugo's sibling is Alana, and his favorite subjects are film, PE, science, ELA, and social studies. So that means everything but math. Everything but math. Favorite hobbies are soccer, Xbox, hanging out with friends, and board games with family. And when Hugo grows up, would like to play professional soccer, but it says if that doesn't work out, computer engineer. Congratulations, Hugo.
Congratulations. Last but not least, for our high school. Oh, I apologize.
Our 8th grade student of the month is Elisa Gurley.
Come on down.
Come on down. Elisa was nominated by her teacher, Mr. Ratliff. Oh yeah, you gotta come on.
I'll come get you, you know.
Hey, everyone's gonna look at you if I'm over here. So Elisa's siblings are Anthony, Amir, Elijah, Isaiah, Hassan, and Autumn. Favorite subject, ELA. I've never seen you bashful. This is an book. Favorite subjects are cheer and sports, and wants to be a teacher or a lawyer when you grow up.
Last but not least, Mr. Smith.
All right, good evening. All right, the Crusader Citizen of the Month Award is in recognition of students demonstrating positive Crusader citizenship traits such as responsibility, respect, kindness, integrity, cooperation, tolerance, and perseverance. Our first recipient is Andrea Trujillo Menjivar. Okay, Andrea has 13 siblings, 7 women and 5 men. Her favorite subject is English. Favorite hobbies are listening to music, sleeping, eating, and dancing. And career plans, when she graduates from high school, she would like to study criminal justice in hopes of becoming a policeman. Our next recipient is Beatrice Aruda. Beatrice has 1 sibling, a brother. Her favorite subject is history. Favorite hobbies are ice skating, being with friends, and eating. And future career plans, she hopes to become a teacher. So congratulations, Beatrice.
Normally get 2. Wow, what great.
All right, our next recipient, Vlad Rudy. Vlad has 1 sister, Victoria Rudy. His favorite subject is personal wellness. His hobbies are playing sports, running in particular, and hanging out with friends. In the future, Vlad hopes to secure a position in a STEM-related field.
Let's have one last round of applause for our students of the month.
All right, last but certainly not least, our last recipient, Jackson Morrison. Jackson has 6 siblings, and out of them, he is the oldest. He loves social studies, modern world history in particular. He loves to play a lot of basketball in his free time, play video games with friends, and listen to music. In the future, he hopes to play basketball in college and hopefully one day play in the NBA. Congratulations, Jackson.
Big smile. There we go.
Thank you.
All right, would everybody, would all the students of the month come up with a parent so we can get a group photo?
No, we were doing it on stage. I got this one.
Guess you come right along the front row. Come on down. You can get right in front of them.
Right in front of us.
Keep going. There you go. No, you're fine. Don't worry about it. We're really not there. So we did nothing. We want to do something.
You got everything, you got opportunities.
We're the best.
You asked to scooch a little bit?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. A lot of us. You know, I think this is the first month that we've been every single student month. That's great. That's great. They were all here this week. What happened? Now I'm like exposed again. There you go.
We're parting the sea in the middle.
I don't know, do it again. Yeah, make some more space. Look at Sydney and Danny Highland. Come on, get it.
Oh, I got you. You're good. You got
Love the dress. Really got dresses this time. I love it.
Yeah, I heard. No, I don't want to go. Thank you.
Okay, next up, we're going to recognize our educator and support staff of the month. We will start with Ms. Hader, our district employee of the month. Would you please come forward? Come up and give some nice words about her. Some well-prepared, descriptive words of who she is and what she does for our kids and community.
I'll try to talk as fast as I can. Corey Hayter is a dedicated employee of the Bound Brook School District for over 3 years. She's consistently demonstrated exceptional commitment and a positive attitude. She arrives at work each day with a warm smile and a willingness to help, earning her the admiration of all of her colleagues. Colleagues describe Corey as sweet, kind, caring, and an outstanding team player. Her teaching approach is marked by innovation and creativity as she designs engaging lessons for her students. Notably, Corey stepped up recently to cover for a teacher whose start date was initially scheduled for October. She embraced the class as her own and goes the extra mile to ensure all students thrive. Her genuine concern for the students extends to advocating for their academic, social, and emotional needs, making her a true champion for their success. Corey is a collaborative team player who consistently works alongside her fellow teachers. She's not only kind and attentive, but also a great listener, offering her colleagues a safe and supportive space for discussions and risk-taking when it comes to communication, planning, and teaching. With her exceptional dedication and contributions to the Bound Brook School District, Corey Hayter is a deserving candidate for the Employee of the Month. The district is indeed fortunate to have her, And Lafayette Elementary School is even luckier to benefit from her outstanding presence. Congratulations to Corey for her well-deserved recognition. Thank you.
Next up, we have our support staff of the month, Ms. Kiss. Dr. S will come up and say a few words. Ms. Kiss, would you please come forward?
Hi. So congratulations to Ms. Kiss, this month's GEMS recipient. Ms. Kiss is a teacher assistant at Lamont School, and she constantly goes above and beyond for her students and the community. Her dedication and willingness to help whenever needed are greatly appreciated by all. During this summer, Ms. Kiss volunteered her time to assist with open house and decorated our school, showing her commitment to creating a warming, welcoming environment. She also contributed by creating bulletin boards and assisting with various office tasks. Throughout the school year, Ms. Kiss plays a crucial role in morning arrivals, dismissal, bus duty, and much more. She's constantly engaging with the students, ensuring that they stay on track and have a fun learning experience. Her helpful attitude extends to the front office, where she frequently offers her assistance to new staff members. Ms. Kiss has great energy, is truly passionate about early childhood education. We are incredibly fortunate to have her as a valuable member of our team, and her dedication and enthusiasm make a positive impact on our school community. Thank you, Ms. Kiss, for your outstanding contributions.
Welcome back.
Congratulations. I just want to recognize some of our other teachers who volunteered their time to come out to support their colleagues. Ms. Taccone, if you would please stand. Ms. Hellman. She doesn't like to stand, but Ms. Guerrero, would you please stand? Ms. Rita Lopez. Hey, hey. She was trying to hide.
So congratulations again to all of our students of the month and educators of the month. At this point, we're going to transition over to our committee report. So for those of you who were really here for the awards, we won't take it personally if you decide to quietly exit out the doors to your right. Oh, I apologize, you're right, we're not doing the committee reports yet because we have Mr. Ross to give us a presentation, correct?
Yes.
Come on, Mr. Ross, let's go.
You guys stand up there, you come down here, look.
I think we can stay there.
I'm fine.
You good there?
Yeah.
Okay. So I am here, I'm Mr. Ross, I'm the supervisor of career technical education, work-based learning. I'm going to be telling you about our data. Our data is not widgets, it's human beings. And so there's something behind this and it means a lot. So that's why we have up here, you'll see committed, inclusive, intentional. It's our 3 words that we came up during our summer team and administrative work. It's the good work that we're doing that translates into the numbers that you're going to see. And it also is why I have academic excellence, empowering student emotional well-being. We want education to empower students to have resources in their life to be better and stronger. So this data means something to us. Even though I default to English, I have a growth mindset, and I sat down with the supervisor of math, and I learned a lot about percentages to understand this in more detail for you. So let's take a look. Here's the goal for the presentation. There's a big overarching goal, which is to make data actionable information, right? So with this data, we are doing things for you. This administrative team here is doing stuff for you. And I know the teachers are doing stuff for you, for the students. So what does it look like? First, there's a summary of the district data. There's a full detail of all this data, 60 pages of it, with the subgroups broken out by race, by gender, by social, economic, demographics. we're disaggregating that data on our own, and we're using that to target those subgroups. But what I wanted to do here was focus on some specific growth, some positive developments that we are using to help every student, not just those who are proficient or succeeding. So what I'm doing is I specifically looked at NJSLA, showing you the proficiency results and trends from 3 through 9 for NJSLA. And then with the NJGPA graduation ready results and trends, pilot year, it was a pilot year last year for 2021 with the test, and this year was something that counted for the students in 22-23. So we want to look at those trends. Then the last 2 slides are really going to just show us the intentional next steps that we are already taking. Everything that you're seeing is already starting. As Dr. Freeman said, we're 29 days in. These things have been on our plate since we saw these numbers really back in June when we were starting to first get them, first develop them. Then we did talk about them over the summer. And then we have implemented specific actions like iReady, like IXL, like our IRNS interventions, and reflecting on those pieces. So as I go through the slides, I will show you the data, and I'll show you also what we're doing with it. So first, an overview. With New Jersey Student Learning Assessments, that's our 3 through 9 piece. So we're looking at 7 grades. For ELA, grades 4, 7, 8, and 9 all show growth in students who met proficiency, and we're above proficient. So we're either proficient or highly above proficient. So that's an important element. With math, grades 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. That's, if I'm counting right, 5 out of the 7 grade of that grade band who showed growth from 21 to 22, from 21-22 to 22-23. That's an important element for us because we want to say why that's happening. And then we also want to be able to look at how do we help those students who aren't yet there. Next, with the NJGPA, New Jersey Graduate Proficiency Assessment, the percentage increased from 21-22, 22-23 in ELA by 221%. That's amazing. And that's partly due to SAT tutoring that we were providing. It was partly due to tutoring for NJGPA that was provided. Mr. Smith, myself, the supervisor of math, we're working on that. And that really helped students get invested in their education. And also something where we were making sure everybody was focused. So that was key. Math had a 10% increase. Maybe not as strong, but still, we're looking at a post-COVID development, and we're looking at how we understand the world anew. So despite these increases, we know there's room for growth. So that's why when I get to the data review, I broke it up into 18-19 pre-COVID, and then I broke it up into 21-22 and 22-23. So what we can see is where we were pre-COVID and what do we look like for the past 2 years post-COVID. And that will help to give you context for this data, right? To say, okay, what was the world like before we had everything shut down, and where are we post that? All right, so what are we going to use it for? We're going to strategically, support those that did not, I guess we could say did not, or partially, or are approaching. We are certainly going to be paying attention to those students, and you will see what we have in place for it. We will also use this data to increase academic rigor, social emotional intelligence, and build curricular relevance. That's something that I take very personally because I want the students to know that their math matters, that their English matters, that their world language matters. It helps you develop yourself. It helps you have resources when you're at home. Because most of the time we sit at home, what are you doing? Look at your phone. Well, here, maybe you want to read this book. Maybe you want to get interested in that. So we are making sure that this data leads to something important in their life. So here we go. NJSLA. Here's our numbers, ELA and math 3 through 9. So I don't know. You have a copy? Will you be able to see that? Yeah. So you folks see that up in the air. So here's where things really start to look important. I went with 2018-19, which is pre-COVID. And then there's 2 years past where we can compare what students are doing. If we look at, go back. if we look at the third grade group, they were struggling. Why? Because they didn't have the benefit of Dr. S's program and the support of being in class K1 and 2. That's your COVID group. So your people who are third grade here were missing out on that direct instruction with teacher. So we can see that compared to where they were in 21, 22 and where they were in 2018, 19. So these are some of the things that we have to look at. How do we go about supporting that group who missed out on direct instruction? And that's something we're thinking about. We look at the next grade band level, and you can see we increased here in fourth grade from last year to this year. But if you look at the group here, which is number 33 in 2018, 19, they would now be seventh graders. So on this, they are right here. So to give you comparison, this cohort right here, 33, scored 30. See what I'm saying? So for me, yep. So I guess I should break it down for us. So there's three ways that we can look at this data. Either this tells us how the curriculum's going, how the teaching's going, and how the cohort is going. So when we look at 1 year to the next, and we see that we're moving up, it shows us that our curriculum and our teaching is moving in a positive direction. And then what I also wanted to map for you was we have this grade in 2018-19 right here, would have been fourth grade. If we move up the count the years, right? So in 19-20, they would have been in 18-19, they were in fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade. So this group here moves here, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Does that make sense? Yep. So here's what I'm trying to show you is this group of students right here, and I didn't break it out this way intentionally, but I just wanted to show you a sample of it, is that these kids right here are these kids right here. So there is not showing a big learning loss, right? So they go 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're in fourth grade in 2018-19, you're in fifth grade in 19-20, you're in sixth grade in 2021, and you're in seventh grade in 21-22. So here, they were taking this test. The learning loss is not there. They have a strong, retention of growth. That's important for us. So that's what we're looking at. So with this data, we can see that pre-COVID and post-COVID, we're remaining strong. And in some places, we're even growing beyond pre-COVID times.
Can I interrupt you?
Absolutely,
For a
yes.
question or comment? So the idea of reviewing this from a cohort perspective
Yes.
is where my mind intuitively
Yeah.
went. And I really appreciate the remarks that you're making, because for me, I look at seventh grade.
Yep.
Right, seventh grade red bar will be 21-22.
Yep.
Right, but that's now our eighth grade yellow bar.
Yep.
So that class
Went up.
almost 20 percentage points.
Yep.
Right, from 1 year to the next.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Right, so the key for me with this, because I was looking at only 2 years, one, because the NJGPA doesn't exist beyond that. So I broke it down for the NJSA for only 2 years. Normally I'd give you a 5-year data picture. But what I wanted also to show is that we do talk a lot about COVID learning loss. What does it mean? What does it look like? So here is the blue band is where we were prior to COVID. And then here we are for the past 2 years. And like you were saying, Rich, was this group here in 21, 22, if you can see with my pointer, they're at 46. And then they're at 41 and 9. So they're dropping a little, but they're staying consistent, right? The 30% here are the 49% here. That shows growth, right? So this data is telling us that our programs are working. It's telling us that we are, in some areas needing to focus on, well, what happened during COVID and how can we return to this new system, return to getting them back on track. So for English, as you can see, we really maintained, a strong level base, because here we dropped a little, we went up, dropped, somewhat of a drop, up, and up. So the fact that we're consistently growing is something positive for us to review. So same thing with the math. The math is very impressive. Why? 28% compared to 14, 19% compared to 9, 16 to 15, 22 to 6. This group here is a point where there's no good or bad data. There's just information, right? So now it's a matter of we take this information and we go, okay, what's going on with this group? Where did it come from, right? Where were they in the year prior? They were at 16, so they did drop. What happened? What do we need to do? How do we address it? So none of this data is either good or bad. It's just, do we need to work on our curriculum? Do we need to work with our teachers? Do we need to work with tutoring? And what is it that we need to do to address these issues? But what I really need to stress with this data is the growth that's still there. And that's an important element for us. Next is the NJ-GPA. So this grade 11 assessment is new, it's difficult, and it's a bit of a challenge, but it's 2 years in. So here's our comparison. This to me was impressive. So even though math only went up statistically in percentage-wise, 10%, right? Because out of 100, I just learned from the math supervisor, the percentages are all out of 100, right? So, thank you, math people. So this is what I'm saying. When I sat down to do this data for you, I made sure that I went to our content specialist. She informed me that, look, Will, when you're doing percentages, it's always out of 100%. So that is 10% growth from the 27 to 30. It's 221% about or more for the English. That's insane. And I think that's due directly to our putting in new programs like tutorings, like are looking at increasing the books that we have available for our curriculum and developing a better connection between the grades. So I think that's clearly being seen. So what are our intentional next steps? I want to wind it up for you because I did just read this whole big book on doubt. And after reading it, I have no doubt that we're doing good things. Come on. No. I have no doubt. You're trying here. So, right, after reading this book on doubt, I have no doubt we're doing good things. So what are we doing? So the administrative team, with this data that you saw, because this conversation that we just had right here is one that I've already had with English and math and curriculum supervisors. The administrative team, pre-K through 12, is working with teachers to norm-focused lesson plans. So we've been revamping objectives with teachers in the classroom, student-centered activities in the classroom, in order to better meet students' individual needs. We also have been hitting with, I don't know, more than a 3.0 batting average, whatever that is, the highest batting average ever probably, this IXL. Teachers are utilizing IXL and iReady to work on prerequisite skills, to get grade level subject matter, and they're utilizing this data to really set up small group instruction. They set up tutoring in the high school to have people working during study hall on IXL, and all grade levels, it's allowing them to have the students work at their own pace to figure out where they can grow and what skills they need. So this IXL initiative has been something they've been working on a lot, and it's from this data. Next is the administrative team is looking at disaggregating the data to better align instructions with standards. So we talk about if the students aren't proficient, what standards are they not proficient in? How do we help them? Those conversations are, what happened? Uh-oh. Third presentation. Window. That was weird. Okay, so that was, the Gong Show. I'm getting pulled off, so I'm gonna be quick. Anybody remember the Gong Show? No, thank you. All right, so we're encouraging staff to adopt problem-based learning model and encourage start invention. So we are asking them to do problem-based learning rather than recall questions, rather than fill in the blank questions. With problem-based, we're giving them something to work through in the classroom. This is K through 12. Next is we're monitoring students' progress using benchmarks. We've established in-house benchmarks. We use IXL as benchmarks. We do fall, winter, spring, and we target instruction based on that. So we're not only using NJSLA or the NJGPA, bless you, we are also working with IXL data as well. And the last thing is, I want to focus on, for you to make sure you know that this data means something. All of these gerunds here, gerund, something that ends with an ing. What we're doing is we're expanding, we're implementing, we're recalibrating, we're targeting, we're updating, we're increasing, we're applying, and we're providing. Right, we're expanding small group instruction. This has been an initiative since Dr. Freeman came here, talking about how do we get people to work together to meet the needs of students who were otherwise not approaching. So those people who weren't, those students who weren't proficient, we're working on how can you be more successful. Implementing New Jersey high impact tutoring program that we have applied for. It's really focused for 3 through 4, but we're looking to model it and extend it K through 12 so that there's extra help for our students. Tutoring is a way that we transcend the COVID issue. We want to work on recalibrating our RNS program so that we identify students earlier who need supports, who need 504s, who strategically need IEPs. So really, supports is the key model there so that we don't necessarily need a 504 or an IEP, and we want to catch students as early as possible. We want to target our PD, and we've been doing that. We've been having great PD sessions where we work on highly effective instructional strategies, and we've been really working with teachers to think about their teaching in the classroom and to not do what I'm doing right now, which is talk at you. Updating G&T curriculum, which has gone over the past year. I've been hearing about this, and it's really been an exciting thing where the STEM and the G&T department programs are expanding. We're getting new teachers for it. We're making sure that it is something that is prominent throughout the curriculum. Then we are increasing, personally for me, this is where is one of my proverbial babies, so to speak. Increasing our dual credit courses. We recently shifted from RVCC alone to work with Stockton University, a 4-year university. So we now have 17 courses from Stockton University, and that's important. That's going to help us manage this data. How do we help these kids succeed on these assessments? And then we're also applying for a DCC grant for $100,000. Why? So that we can make sure we pay for all students to take these courses here. Also, the program works to set up a grant where we potentially have 8 teachers getting master's degrees in content area to make them more dynamic in the classroom. And that is through the grant. And then finally, there's an initiative that's ongoing right now, providing 8 to 10 teachers, all grade levels, ESL certificates via Fairleigh Dickinson University. Very important here so that we can address all of our students. So here's the nuts and bolts. Looking at where we were pre-COVID to where we are post-COVID, we are making strides. The numbers for me do look good, but the numbers also for me tell us that we need to make sure that we have these conversations and we figure out the strategies to help the kids who are struggling at all levels. So we want to help everybody, the lower, the middle, the high level student in every way. And that's pretty much the data as it stands for this year. Questions, concerns, major malfunctions?
Any questions or comments?
I guess I will go first. First of all, Mr. Ross, it was beautiful, well done.
Thank you.
I do a lot of presentations and you've done amazing.
Thank you.
So, I appreciate it. So, quick question for you. This slide is different than the one that we received a few days ago.
Okay, so the data that you were looking at from the NJ, so that is what I mentioned earlier, so absolutely. So the full data, the Linkit data reports that you're getting shows all the subgroups. So for the purpose of this moment, I mean, if we want to break down subgroups, we can look at ethnicities, we can look at special ed. We are sitting down, and I just want to assure you that what I just did here was look at, okay, COVID versus where we are now.
So is that the total number that you're mentioning here for grade 3, grade 4, those numbers there?
Yeah.
Because your total numbers are different than the ones that I got from those reports.
For proficiencies.
Which proficiencies are you looking at?
So scores of 4 and 5 together. Yeah, so what I'm looking at only is scores of 4 and 5 put together. So yeah, it may not be the apparent number there because they're separated sometimes. It depends on how, so the way the Linkit people had presented the data.
Is there a reason why 1, 2, and 3 are not included?
There's a reason why. Yes, because what I'm trying to show is the way that we're making students college ready, the way that we're making students proficient, and how we're managing that. And then the other part for me is, with knowing where we are with the proficiencies, we want to look at the strategies we use for them so that we take it to all students.
Because on average,
Yeah.
based on the percentages that were provided in the reports.
Yep.
60% of the students are in levels 1, 2, and 3. So what you're showing here on this graph only represents 40% of the grade.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, so at this point, yes, there are some of the students, those students are being taken care of based on us knowing best practices for them. And that's why we get to here is ultimately, we look at the scores and we go, these are the students who are making it. What standards are they achieving? How are they achieving it? Then we need to make sure that we do that for all the students who are there. So the piece for me is also in looking at data, because data is only numbers, not information. We need to pay attention to how we are growing. And so I can break this down and disaggregate how we are growing even for other groups. It's smaller. So the key for me is, if this proficiency is getting bigger, the other side that you were mentioning, the ones, the twos, the threes, the fours, is getting, the ones, the twos, the threes is getting smaller. So that isn't made apparent. So I could work on doing that in a better way next time for sure, where showing that because we went up that much, that means that there's so many people who are not in that lower category anymore. And you're absolutely right.
The thing is, that the thing that you mentioned 4 to 5, the 5s to me are actually going down or either just staying the same.
Right. So yeah, I mean, so for me,
I don't see how the 4s may be doing great, but overall they're doing great. But then when you break it down to lower that subset to just level 5s only,
yep,
it seems pretty stagnant.
The groups of 5s are in a stagnant place and something that we need to address. Absolutely. So again, like I said before, data is not good or bad. It's something we need to address. Yeah, so again, so for me, for the sake of time, I focused on a specific area, and that was looking at how we were doing over time. So your point is well made. So for me, when I look at the 4, we definitely are growing there. When we look at 5, that's exceptional, and that's where we want to be. But our big issue has always been making sure everybody's beyond to proficient, and that's been our struggle.
Question.
Yep.
For now.
No.
Why is science not up here?
Why is science not up there? Because I was not, able to pull up everything quickly because I was bringing this in, so.
Fair enough, it does take a while.
Yeah, I wasn't able to pull up everything, so I could pull that into you, and if you want me to give you that, I can certainly dice that out. The other part about science, as most people who are teachers who know, they always say it's gonna count, and it never does. So here's the problem with that data, if we want to really get into it, is it's a little bit bogus because the students know that it doesn't count per se for graduation readiness, and it's been a big thing. I've been in this game for 26 years now. They've been saying it's going to count since I started in 2005 here in New Jersey, and guess what? Science doesn't count. So you're right. I didn't have the time to get to that one here for this.
Mr. Ross, I just wanted to say, being an educator, I am very impressed. I am very, very thankful, and I'm humbled by the work you've done in compressing all of this data. I think the board is appreciative of where we're at and where we're going. And I think that if we look at this globally, you're giving us a really good outlook. From a layman's point of view, you're giving us a really good outlook of that, the growth is being made. And I think you said it really good. We're not dealing with widgets. We're dealing with children.
Yeah.
And, the fact of the matter is that to see with everything else we have going on, this growth, thanks to you, thanks to your administrative team, thanks to everyone, thanks to our teachers, I have to say is that I'm humbled by what I'm seeing. I thank you from the bottom of my heart because this is phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you. No, I thank you. And thank you for your questions. Seriously, I didn't cover everything here. And if I did, as you can tell, I could keep going.
Really quick, I had one comment and then something to clarify. First, I can't believe it's been a year already, but last year we sat here and I know we had a big conversation when we saw this presentation and people were talking about, we need growth now, we need 100%. And I know the teachers up here sat here and said, if we get 3%, if we get 5%, that's amazing, right? And you're showing us 221% on, granted, that's one test, but that's amazing.
That's a major test for
When I saw that bar, when you sent it to me, I thought it was a mistake.
No.
I was like, that can't be true. There's no way. That's amazing. So first of all, this incremental growth, it's gonna take years, but this is an amazing first step. Let's start there. Now, the one that's concerning when you look at it is the 8th grade math, right? But my question to you is, so everybody understands, the 8th graders that take math are broken up into math 8 and algebra.
Okay,
So
so,
let's talk about why that number looks the way it
yeah,
does.
so that's key. I'll let Robin, I'll default to her wisdom on that.
Yeah, so the 8th grade is deceiving because we have students who take algebra, and those kids were tested with the 9th graders.
That's right.
They take the 9th grade test. So, it looks like the performance is lower, but our top performing students actually didn't take the 8th grade test. They took the 9th grade test.
So we're
So
losing,
that's why that
So you
looks like
lose-
that.
you lose your top half.
we're losing 28 to 35 kids, actually. Yeah, so that's a good point, and Jill did tell me to make that point. So, sorry, Jill, I'm on YouTube. I didn't make that point. She did point that out to me specifically, that yes, and thank you for bringing it up, is that those 30 kids do make a dent because
Yeah,
they
that
are
number
not they're not
Number wouldn't
testing.
be 4.
And you
That
can tell
number
that
would
they
be
did a good
4%.
job
Yeah.
because that
Right.
bar is
Yes.
For sure.
Right. So, maybe if the state was savvy, they'd say, look, take both. I don't know. Let's torture kids.
That's what we need is kids taking more tests, right?
Yeah, there we go.
Let's give them.
No, let's torture children.
So for me, as a non-educator, just to make sure I understand. And guys, keep me honest here. So if you're in 8th grade taking algebra, you take the grade 9 test.
Yeah,
Yes.
because it's a 9th grade course.
But then if you're not taking algebra,
You're doing the regular.
You do it's called 8th grade curriculum math, yeah.
okay, so that's right. It's called.
Yeah, so that's a great point. So thank you for highlighting that, and I was supposed to say
Thank
that.
you,
So
guys.
again,
I
sorry.
got you.
Thanks for getting my back. So thank you for the questions. Thank you for the hard questions. Thank you for the, the support. And again, I'm finished. Thank you, everybody out here.
For one more.
Oh, anybody else? Yeah. sorry.
Just want to echo the comments of the board. We've all been party to the conversations about all the good instructional work that's going on in the district. So my question was the next steps. When we look at the subgroup data, it seems our students with disabilities and our multilingual kids are really struggling and not maybe realizing as much growth as we might hope for. Can you speak to how these steps will be sort of enacted with those groups of kids in mind, what that might look like for multilingual kids?
I think with a lot of our subgroups, we're seeing that. So when you break down, by race, by gender, and social economic, again, is a big indicator as well as a struggle. And certainly that's where we need to provide extra supports for our students and simple things like executive functionings and figuring out what's a school workspace look like in your home. We're having those conversations. Do you have a desk at home? Do you work anywhere on your work besides your bed? And that simple conversation is part of all of this stuff that we're doing. Certainly the IXL, which is really a guided learning practice that helps the student to go at their own pace. So it's adaptive. It's so fancy for those non-educators. It's adaptive testing. So whatever you do, it takes you along your path. So IXL is a very strong support for our kids who are struggling or who are not meeting grade level, who are needing to get to proficiency. So that's what that's doing. I think also us looking at the subgroups, like you were saying, we are very aware of it. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you click to the next slide.
Yes, all right.
So, one of the things that we wanted to do to address the multilingual learners and our teachers' ability to service them properly was starting with this ESL certification program. The more educators who are trained on how to work with students that are language learners, the stronger they'll be in their academic classes. And, this stretched all across the grade span. Another thing was recalibrating our INRS process and also looking at identifying students earlier who are struggling and then coming up with improvement plans for them on how to get them closer to where they need to be. With the high impact tutoring, that we can target the students more specifically based on their individual needs. The small group instruction, we're really working on focusing on strengthening the tier 1 interventions within the classroom, in addition to increasing the tier 2 interventions in the classroom, in addition to outside of the classroom. And and then even we have some students who might be actually gifted or advanced students who are multilingual learners and special ed students, and we're trying to do a better job of identifying those students so we can provide them with the STEM activities and the enrichment activities, which will hopefully help to increase their confidence and get them more engaged academically.
Yeah, I second that piece because for me, that comes from my personal space as a dyslexic ADHD kid who was in AP classes in high school, but pulling C+, but still went to a state school and then, got into Ivy Leagues. It's possible. So I think it's really important that we're identifying students for what it is. Is this a learning issue? Is this a language issue? Is this a behavioral issue? And really identifying them. So it's not only personal, but it's important for students.
There's one other thing, in the change we made to our bilingual program, one of the things we found was that children were having difficulty learning the academic. We were teaching English, but they weren't sound or strong in their native language. So by changing our bilingual program to where they focus on the native language, and then each year they start to increase the percentage of English that the classroom taught in, that's one of the major keys. Now that's going to take 2 or 3 years for it to happen, but we find when we get to the point where we have children who are strong in their native language, after the 4th grade, 5th grade, we'll start to see the jump in their ability to handle the academic language and therefore do better on the assessments. That's a major piece that we put in. You approved a lot of training, that ongoing training and coaching for our bilingual teachers. It was a big adjustment for them this year. It was something totally new. It was a big adjustment for parents. But now that we've gotten into the program for 29 days, people are starting to see the purpose behind it. The kids are happier, they're more confident, and they're starting to do better academically already. That will continue, and that will, without a doubt, increase our ability for our students to do well on these assessments.
I just want to close with one observation on the second thing I said, which is, I think when we received this presentation last year, we were hopeful that there would be progress to show from year to year, and I think we've seen that. But personally, as a board member, I'm really excited for seeing the levels of integration and coordination with some of the newer ideas that we have in year 2 of our new administration now, between the new assessments. We're not just relying on the statewide assessments, but we have the iWriting and the IXL, and how quickly that's translated into feedback to students, feedback to teachers, feedback to parents, and our continuing education, our PUD, and how it's all rolling through. So I don't, cautiously optimistic, but I think this is just the start of what we're expecting to see in years to come. And for me, it's really exciting. So thank you, guys. You're welcome for the presentation.
Thank you.
We are up to item number 3, student board member elections.
I just want to start off by talking about our certain sports teams. Our football team is currently 1 win and 6 losses with their last game against Manville on Friday. The boys soccer team had their last game on Saturday with a current record of 5 wins, 10 losses, and 1 tie. The girls tennis team finished their season last Friday with a record of 3 wins, 14 losses, and 1 tie. The girls soccer team currently have a record of 7 wins, 6 losses, and 1 tie, with 3 more games to go. The next one being home on Friday against Denali at 4. Cross country team are ending their season next week with their next competition being tomorrow at Pleasant Valley Park. The girls volleyball team have a record of 6 wins and 10 losses with 2 more games to go. The next will be home tomorrow against Plainfield. And for our winter teams, both basketball and wrestling teams have been hosting events to prepare for their upcoming seasons, which include tryouts and events that help out the younger teams in the middle school. In other news, there's going to be a college fair at the school on October 23rd and a career fair on November 15th. And on October 26th, our students will be taking the PACT or the ACT, like all these students, and as well as offer tutoring for these tests. For this month, well, every month until I believe January, I'll be interviewing one of the principals from each of the schools in the district. For this month, I had the honor of talking with Ms. Kehanas,
Nice, you got it.
the principal of Lafayette. Despite how early into the year the interview was, she was excited and positive about the upcoming school year. She was an assistant principal in the New York Bronx for 13 years, where she managed 600 students and 100 staff members. She was mentored by the main principal of that school, who taught her all that she knows and how to be fair and just. She came to Bound Brook because she thought that Bound Brook brought a challenge to her that the Bronx didn't. And in her short time here, she has seen her staff exceed their responsibilities and expectations, while also being inclusive and keeping a positive attitude, even when the situation wasn't the best. Her current plans for the upcoming school year include building a trusting relationship with staff and parents, primarily through social media, and using her expertise to develop and push her staff and curriculum further. Lastly, she's keen on having students express their learning goals, and is key to their future success.
Excellent. Thank you for all the updates. At this point, we can start on the review of our committee meetings. Would you like to start with education?
Sure. We had a great education meeting a couple weeks ago. We focused on 2 new diagnostic programs and assessments the district is using. One is called iReady. One is called iExcel. So iReady primarily is enrolled at K-6. Please correct me if I'm incorrect. iExcel really at all levels. And what's neat about these programs is many of them are adaptive, meaning that as students answer questions correctly, they become more difficult. And as students are struggling, they receive questions that are at their level. So what's exciting is the data that the teachers and the students get afterwards. So if you imagine yourself as a classroom teacher with 20 to 25 children before you, your task is to design a lesson to meet all those kids where they are. And what these programs do is it gives very targeted data about how to group students into small groups and provide them with really tailored instruction. We spent a lot of our time in our committee meeting talking about goal setting and the value of students being able to know and articulate the specific goals they're working on to become better mathematicians, better readers, better writers, and how the teachers can use those goals to provide the kids with really targeted feedback based upon how they're doing work on the assessments. There's also great parent components where parents can be made aware of these reports. iExcel is a great program that allows for skills to be practiced. The general culture of the district seems to have responded well to these programs. The reports that we get indicate that teachers are finding them useful. Sometimes it's great to take assessments, but it can be overwhelming to get all the data and know what to do with it. But the initial feedback is that the data is user-friendly and useful and able to help the teacher figure out a way to meet the needs of all of their students in the class. So there's a lot of excitement about the potential of small group instruction, having kids own their goals, and being able to give teachers resources that allow them to better target the needs of individual students. We're also excited that these programs have components in English and Spanish, so they are useful for assessing our large multilingual population as well. What we're finding out, is it really a reading issue or a math issue, as opposed to, is this test a reflection of the child's language skills? So we had a productive meeting, and we're excited about things to come.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Any questions from the members regarding the education committee? I will just make one comment. I shared this with Mrs. Griffin as she's leading the meeting. It's actually a point of great pride for me that there is basically standing room only in our education committee meetings because of all that excellent work that you guys are doing and the content that you're sharing and how just energizing and important all of it is. So thank you very much for the hard work. And for the board members who aren't on that committee, not taking anything away from anybody else, but if you have the time and the interest, I would encourage you to attend it. If you're not a member, let's just make sure that we don't break any forums because they're just outstanding meetings. With that, governance, Mr. Val.
Okay, so we had a lot of policy updates, as you can see in tonight's agenda. Most of them are state mandated, so you can read through those. A lot of it's just language changes. There were a few things that we had questions about. One of which I had to reach out to Gwen about is that they are recommending that we change our requirement to 90 days after being elected to receive your initial training as a board member. We had some concerns that there was going to be enough training available to board members to make that happen, but Gwen assured me through email that there is a self-paced online course that is available at all times. So if you don't make it to one of the training sessions, you can always do it online. This year, they're also having new member orientations in January and February, so they'll have 2 live sessions available within those 90 days for those who are elected traditionally at the, or I should say, or become board members in January. So if you're elected in November, you're covered with 2 live plus some online options. The other stuff was really language related where we decided, for instance, one where we decided to give Dr. Freeman a little bit of the says, we talked about the sick leave last meeting and the new rules about that, and there are options, I should say, where a district can choose if we want to ask employees for 7 days notice when they are able to give that notice, if they're going to be using those additional types of what we'll call sick leave, but leave, because it's not really traditional sick leave. And we decided it was best to use the phrase may require. You can say will not require, may require, or will require. So we stuck with may require to give Dr. Freeman the discretion so that he can apply it fairly in all situations. That's just one example, but it was a lot of language like that. But the most important thing that happened at our meeting was we talked about our strategic plan and how to move forward. We saw presentations from, they were sent to us, they weren't live with us. We were sent presentations from NJSBA and Thought Exchange, right? Thought Exchange. Both were good, but we thought that NJSBA was just way more thorough, especially in the planning phase. Not to mention, it's quite a bit of savings financially. So with those 2 things, we thought it was best to recommend that we stick with NJSBA with the board's approval tonight. We also noticed that their timeline starts in September, which means we are already behind, so we will have to accelerate the timeline just a bit at the beginning to catch up on that. But that's something we're willing to do to implement a good strategic plan. And the last thing we very briefly discussed in the last 5 minutes of the meeting, Mr. Zupko will be very happy about this. We are definitely looking to bring back Ed Council one more time. We're going to try it again. We talked just a little bit about what that might look like. Dr. Freeman is really going to look into what he thinks it should look like, but I know that was also discussed in negotiations. One thing that we do want to start with is to make sure that buildings are holding advisory council meetings at the building level first and make sure that's going on in the district. I think maybe Mr. Januzzi has a little bit more information on this.
Sure, and just to add, I think in general, we want to support our building level administrators and empower them to address issues that are happening on the ground in real time, if at all possible. But we also wanted to enable this mechanism for, our teachers to say, if there are district-wide issues that are causing people grief or observations that you have that would allow us to make it a better place to work, right? Then we want the opportunity to entertain those as a board, as quickly as we possibly. Certainly don't want to wait, the next 3 to 5 years before we go back to negotiating another contract. So I'm very excited. I think the climate is right for us to reintroduce it, and I think we'll be able to make a lot of meaningful progress.
And that was my whole report.
Great. Any questions from Mr. Bauer? Okay, hearing none, on to human resources, Ms. Musson.
So way back in September, we met, and so admin is continuing to monitor our open positions at Chipway then. District reps attended Keene University Career Fair earlier in September with the hopes that it would bring in more potential subs while their students were completing their education. Exit surveys for staff that had resigned or left during the 22-23 school year have been compiled. There were common themes like job satisfaction, stress, work-related support, commutes higher and higher wages. Some of the things that were brought, came out in the exit surveys were things that had been noticed, such as staff not feeling supported and had been addressed already. And then we are, they're reviewing job descriptions for supervisor special ed, curriculum, and inclusion to better align the job descriptions with districts' needs. And finally, on this past Monday, negotiation committee met, and I flaked out on it, sorry. Missed it. But happy to say that we have a tentative handshake agreement, and hopefully present it for the board at our November meeting. That's it.
Great. Thank you very much for the update. One quick comment that I would make in terms of the job descriptions, just for everybody's awareness, those are on our agenda tonight to vote on. So just as you consider kind of the thought process that we led to this point, admin created them, they've been reviewed and endorsed by the HR committee, and now they're on for the board. Any comments or questions on the HR report? Mr. Ross, I think you got all the questions. You got all the questions.
There you go.
Operations, Mr. Zucker.
This was really a pleasure. We went on a field trip. We started construction, we went to Lafayette. I have to say, I was very impressed with the expansion project. The committee expressed very encouraged. We looked at all of the aesthetics of the addition, we asked about cost, including the several change orders, as well as the timing of completion, and everything was answered very thoroughly by the administration. So I just think that that's fantastic, and it's really to help our student population. Just tremendous. We also have some busing news that I'm going to hand over to Mr. Corsi that he can expand on a little bit, Mr. Corsi.
Thank you, Mr. Zupko. As many of you know, Bound Brook is a walking district for transportation. The two areas that we focus on servicing are special education routes and co-curricular and athletic routes. And we have reached pretty much full capacity on all of those routes. So Mr. Januzzi and the Board of Education formed an ad hoc committee, which is an ad hoc committee. I'll steal a little bit of Ms. Gazzino's thunder. And in that last two meetings, Mr. Steele was present, and he talked about some of the challenges that we're facing with athletic runs and co-curricular runs with regard to transportation limitations and the inability to have vehicles and drivers staff those extra runs. So this is not unusual. A lot of school districts are struggling with this. We also spoke separately from the committee with Mr. DeMarco, our special education director, and he pointed out that some of our special ed funds are overcrowded, underserved students, and we have the need for expansion. So with those, we discussed with Dr. Freeman the need for some budget resources to be transferred immediately for 2 large unbudgeted purchases, because there is a shortage right now on buses. There's a 1 to 2 year wait where you get a purchase order in to have your bus manufactured and delivered. So we thought we would get ahead of that, and we've been reaching out to several bus manufacturing companies, and we were fortunate that we were able to secure a brand new 24 passenger bus and also a brand new 54 passenger bus. Both of these are 2024 models. The price on the 54 passenger bus is a little over $138,000, and the 24 passenger bus is $116,000. So we have a resolution on the agenda tonight for the board to authorize the purchase for those 2 buses, which were unbudgeted, with the use of surplus that Dr. Freeman and I have identified in other budget accounts. And this will better serve the athletic co-curricular needs of our district, as well as the special education transportation needs. And will also enable us to even solicit some jointures. And that's where we would reach out to the transportation directors of other school districts and see if we could share a route in any way where we could share the cost. So, there's a thing there.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, sir. That's all for operations. Any questions? Any questions?
A simple question, Roger. Do we know if the basement has been waterproofed at Lafayette? Question was the basement waterproof at Lafayette?
We all agree, and they said it was waterproof, and when we had our little field trip, the walls were damp.
Correct.
Again, I'm going to have to send it over to my buddy, Mr. Gorski. Mr. Gorski, can you enlighten us on that?
I wish I could, Mr. Zupko, but I'm gonna have to phone a friend also and ask our architect, because this project was designed with the previous administration, but I'll get you an answer.
So, report back to you then.
We are also changing architects.
Architects are being changed.
Yes. Reserve a comment and congratulate the board on that decision.
Any other comments or questions for Roger on operations?
Yeah. I had a question. The buses, you said 124 and 116?
Yes, ma'am. One is a 24 passenger bus. That's the $116,000 price tag, and the 4 passenger bus is $138,000.
So one question, to continue dealing with the buses. So I understand the purchase order was done on that the buses will arrive in the next 1 to 2 years, or so?
No, we're fortunate, these vehicles are now in the factory getting their air conditioning systems installed, and they should be ready for delivery in about a month's time.
And the 2024?
Yes, 2024 models, brand new.
Solar
Solar powered, no. They're a traditional diesel.
But they got air conditioning.
They do have air conditioning. And one improvement of that is our depreciation schedule for our transportation vehicles is aging. So this will infuse some needed lifeblood into the earlier end of that, so that we don't have all of the buses maturing at the same time. Even though the state has extended the life cycle for buses to up to 20 years now, many times after 10 to 15 years, they run into significant problems and have to take out service.
Out of curiosity, what are the age of the current fleet now?
One is a 2015, and another one is a 2008.
So that one's getting close to end of life.
Yes. vans are up there too. So the plan, I'm glad you brought it up, we have currently 4 vehicles, 2 54 passenger vans, 2 24 buses. And what we're gonna do is, one of the current 24 passenger vans has a defective engine and transmission. It's working, but it's not reliable and it's left us recently. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna trade in that vehicle. And then we're going to use the new 54 passenger van right into the to and from school schedule. So that's gonna get a little cheaper. And we're gonna take the oldest of the 54 passenger vehicles, and we're gonna use that as a spare and a dedicated vehicle for athletics and co-curricular runs and field trips and things like that, which I'm sure the principals here would find a great deal for the.
Has there been any thought on the older aging vans? I remember a while back, I forgot how far back, but some of the parents were questioning whether or not we could use some of the by transportation like Middle Earth or some of the other. We did.
Yeah, we took care of that. We took care of that shortly after. We provide transportation. The question was transportation from Lafayette to up with the after school. No problem. And let me just add that it was almost an impossible task to find a bus that we could buy. We went out to the commission who was selling the bus and the prices were too high. We were only able to do it because of Mike's connection with the distributor, so his network is what allowed us to do that. He's being humble by not saying it, but I thought I would add that.
Thank you, Mike. And I'll just make one comment, and it kind of ties into the update on co-curricular. I think if I've learned anything from Dr. Freeman and his approach to, the changes he's making with the administrative team, is that we shouldn't be afraid to be nimble and react quickly when the situation warrants. So I think the idea that we were able to get feedback through our athletics and co-curricular ad hoc committee that said transportation was the #1 pain for the majority of our coaches, and that we could translate that into freeing up additional resources and then having our business team take action to make that a reality in the span of weeks, maybe months. I think it's something we all need to start to realize is an opportunity, is an option that we should be aspiring for. So there are some things that will take a long time, right? And there are some things that we should be able to be capable of acting on in a much shorter time frame. We shouldn't be afraid of trying to do it. And so rolling into athletics and co-curricular, I think our last meeting is probably going to end up being a wrap-up meeting, but we really just reaffirmed our 3 highest priorities, transportation being among them, facilities, and making some additional facilities hopefully available in the future as we look at our long-range plan for both facilities and our strategic plan for the district, and then investing in general physical education, strength and conditioning, and opening up a new stipend position. So those are really the 3 outcomes that I expect from that committee as more or less a final report, and we will transition into starting to operationalize some of those things. We talked a little bit about some research that Mr. Steele would do in terms of other like positions in other districts that we could potentially model, starting to understand what those stipend rates might look like and where we can go to fund that. Obviously, you've heard about transportation. And the identification of and investment in facilities is a much bigger conversation. But again, we'll get into that in future budget planning and future strategic. Any quick comments on athletics and co-curricular? Unfortunately, Sue's not with us tonight, so we are going to skip the SCESC report. And before I close, any other comments or questions regarding the committee's note? Deep breath. Fantastic reports for all the committee chairs. The work that you guys are doing is fantastic. Just the volume of activity, the thoroughness that you guys are doing for all the content again continues to amaze me. So thank you for all of your extra effort. At this point, we are open to the public for agenda items only. So Tom, while you check online, I will just read the notes that we have here. So in accordance with District Policy 0167, governing public participation in board meetings, members of the public will sign in at the podium or online, provide their name, address, and affiliation. Public participation is limited to 3 to 5 minutes in duration, and no participant may speak more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. With that being said, anybody from the room? Do you want to talk about something on the agenda or just?
It was something that was said during the committee reports. Do you want me to read it?
Come down. That's the test, by the way.
That's already on file. Good evening. Kelly Newman. I am the Vice President of BBEA. I just wanted to say thank you for working collaboratively and cooperatively with us to settle our contract, and we look forward to presenting it to our members.
Thanks for coming, Kelly, and thank you for all your hard work.
Have a good night.
Thanks for staying.
You have no agenda item questions online.
Thank you very much. Here up to item number 6.1, approval of minutes from 8/21/23. Be resolved that Falmouth Board of Education, upon recommendation of the superintendent, approves the minutes of the following meetings, regular and executive session from August 21st, 2023. Have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Val. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Zepko. Any discussion?
6.1, I really feel like I was there. I'm not listed. Attendance for the closed session.
Mr. Januzzi, that change will be reflected in the actual message.
Thank you very much. Any other comments, questions, suggested edits?
Yes, we're not voting on 6.2, there are no.
Correct, since there were no attachments
attachment.
in the agenda, we will not be voting on 6.2, we'll just push that to the next meeting. Thank you. All right, hearing none, can we do a roll call, please?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Dawson?
Yes.
Ms. Gazino?
Yes.
Mr. Zupko?
Yes.
Ms. Mosley?
Yes.
Mr. Minhas?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
And Mr. Januzzi?
Abstain?
Thank you. The motion passes.
Sir? Wait. Thank you. I read ahead this time. We are up to item 7.1, resolve that the superintendent recommends for approval of resolutions as outlined in district personnel resolutions. This is 7.2 through 7.53. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Musso. Any discussion? I just have one quick question, and I say it's quick, but it'll probably take everybody a minute to find it. 7.32, this is middle school extracurricular positions. There are 2 positions noted as advisors. Can we just confirm that those are 7th and 8th grade advisors, not one splitting of advisory for one grade? Listening to cursing. Dr. Freeman.
The first 2.
The .5s are split. Is that you're talking about, can I say the names, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes, it's for Pettish and Bennett.
Yes.
They split it, that's why the .5 calculation. It's one position split. Co-advisors, yes, co-advisors.
So that's for just one grade or for both grades?
That's for the middle school student council. For
Middle
both,
school student
yeah, for the whole,
council. Thank you.
yeah.
And so I was confusing it, just so you have the context. I thought they were class advisors, because I know we were talking about that, but this is not that.
And the title in their current contract is this middle school class advisor, which serves as our student council.
Got it. Thank you for the clarification. Any other comments or questions? All right, hearing none, can we do a roll call, please?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Dawson?
Yes.
Ms. Casino?
Yes.
Mr. Zupko?
Yes.
Ms. Musa?
Yes.
Mr. Minhas?
Yes.
Mr. Volmer?
Yes.
Mr. Januzzi?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 8.1, be it resolved that the Bound Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in district education resolutions. This is 8.2 through 8.14. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Bowell, second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. Any discussion? Hearing none, can we do a roll call, please?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Dawson?
Yes.
Ms. Casino?
Yes.
Mr. Zupko?
Yes.
Ms. Musa?
Yes.
Mr. Minhas? Yes. And Mr. Volmer?
Yes.
And Mr. Januzzi?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 9.1, be it resolved that the Bound Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in board action resolutions. If you thought 7 was long, this is 9.2 through 9.57. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Bowell, second.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Musa. That's a little too late. Any discussion?
I don't know, maybe I'm talking as a parent here for 9.35, the Life Touch. Were they the only ones that that applied to become a district photographer, or we just,
We continue.
we continue?
Yeah, but you have,
Well, I can talk as, I know from some families, some of the pictures for the kids, they have claimed to have, they never got taken, they somehow got lost, or they never got taken. One of my kids, this happened 3 times. So, and every time we talk to them, they always say, we'll rectify the situation, make sure it doesn't happen again, but I feel like that's, like they're reading off a teleprompter and they're just conditioned to give that response to every parent. Seeing it happen once, okay, we'll let it pass, but a second or third time, at that point, it's like, I'm sorry. Especially, unfortunately, it's happening 3 times. That's why I'm kind of hesitant. But at the same time, it's happened to other parents and other families with their children. So I just don't know if they're like.
that's the important thing, is that they should reach out to them, but they should reach out to them.
So we can talk about this offline if you want.
We'll talk.
I just wanted to thank everyone for the donations. I know, much appreciated. Saying that to me, and
Go right ahead. I was gonna, go ahead, take it.
We appreciate it, clothes, supplies, everything is really, you don't know, the smallest, if you think it's a small donation, it's tremendous to our district, and I really appreciate it. So thank you to all those who donate.
Agreed. Thank you, Roger.
Yes, sir.
Question 917, on the field turf, there's a $17,000 charge to replace. Is this something that was already done by them and damaged, or is it something that was existing?
Mr. Januzzi? The field turf piece was a addition to the project where it was identified that a long jump area needed be replaced also, and there were some safety issues with the existing one. It's not the original scope of the project, so this is an extra addition to the field turf replacement track project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gorski. Any other comments or questions?
One other one. If I may, 936. Madam Chair.
If I may have the floor to just introduce briefly 9.36.
Absolutely. 9336?
Yes, sir.
Maru Health?
Yes, sir. 9.36 in the agenda is to approve Maru Health for services to the Mount Brook Board of Education. I'm going to read a very brief statement from our health insurance broker. The Maru plan is a unique solution to providing mental health services to employees in the public sector market. So unlike the employee assistance plan that we currently have, where an employee can pull up and seek immediate counseling from a provider, this Maru plan is unique. It's traditionally designed for groups starting at 4,000 employees, breaking into the New Jersey market. The program contains multiple paths to ensure employees that need help receive proper levels of treatment of mental health care. It all starts with the intake to review what the issues are with the staff member, and then help decide what level of treatment would work best. This has 4 levels of treatment, where the current employee assistance plan has 1. This goes all the way up to a level of treatment where the employee remotely Zoom with a physician and have counseling on a daily basis. They will coordinate with physicians to start care or enroll them in the 8-week programs. The program is built around providing daily support, not just 45 minutes every week or 2. The program will not only address mental health, but will also address the physiological response we have during mental stressful events. By identifying these triggers, it can help identify mental stress either and help limit the severity. But even if it is a severe case, it can offer a much higher level of service than we offer. And the beauty of this is Dr. Freeman identified an available grant fund here with ESSER funds that came out during COVID, where this district has had difficulty spending approximately $50,000 of award. So the price tag for this was designed to fit, and it was actually reduced to fit in that application. And we are going to work with our HR department and roll out materials for all staff, because this is cutting edge. I'm not aware of any other school districts that have such an intensive mental health program, which is what this is designed to be. Any other questions?
Yeah, the question, who pays for this?
It's being paid for by federal ESSER funds that is part of COVID relief grants.
Thank you. Mike, thank you very much for the detailed explanation. And I just want to highlight, this was one of the items, I think there was a weekend break for 6. So thank you, Dr. Freeman, for making sure that these items are being put forward to the board members. Well in advance. Any other questions on anything in section number 9?
9.22.
Sure.
Yeah.
22.
Yeah, for Bishop Communications.
Mhm.
Is it? This is an admin question. Are they working for us?
Yes. And they're increasing. We're in the process of working with them on a project to start to advertise the programs that we have going on in the district. So I've met with them. They're just emailed the principals to start to better publicize our programs and those things. So they are.
So no one not performing.
Oh, no, actually they are. Right? There'll be more of that. There's going to be something on the engineering program, the bilingual program, all those things, so people really get an idea of the great things that are going on in the district, because I think we have too many things that because people aren't in the schools, they don't know about, so they're going to get lucky.
And so the one observation I would have, and I think this was part of our original plan when we brought them in, it was kind of dependent on restructuring the websites. And it may be something that they deprioritized in their work, or maybe we didn't have the bandwidth to do, but the idea of having our administrative team have more freedom, maybe a little bit more freedom in getting content out on the school sites as well. And I know that there was a line item in proposal for that, but maybe refocusing them on training, resources, support, to make sure that we take a little bit of the load of central line and maybe distribute it further down. Any other questions about 9.22? Any other questions about anything in section 9 in general? Okey-dokey. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Dawson?
Yes.
Ms. Gazino?
Yes.
Mr. Sufco?
Yes.
Ms. Gluson?
Yes.
Mr. Minhas?
Yes.
Mr. Homer?
Yes.
Mr. Janusik?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, sir. We are up to item number. Other matters to come before the board.
I just wanted to congratulate the middle school girls. I was at a game last night and I was so happy. I think we're on there's an undefeated streak so far. And the community support for our team, the sportsmanship that our team presented. It made me very proud, and I wanted to thank the coaches and the staff and the parents that have helped us all along to this point. So, excellent job. Just wanted to give kudos.
I think the middle school athletics programs right now in general are doing really well, including the 2 new soccer teams that we started. I think the boys may have almost the girls are undefeated as well. It's excellent. There's great things coming out of our middle schools.
I just want to thank the robotics team for what they did at the Bridgewater Mall a while back. We went there on a Sunday, and my 7-year-old had a complete blast to the point. Now he's running around the house acting like a robot and talking like a robot. So, like, if I actually have to address him as a robot, I like tend to punch into my phone a command for him to do something. So he had a real blast, and yeah, it was awesome.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. At this point, we open to the public for general discussion. I will forego the reading of the entire statement, but just note that if you would like to address the board, name, address, and affiliation.
You have no comments online.
No comments. Thank you very much. So, with that, item number 13, move to go into executive session. This will be under items 1 and 3. Did I get that right, Rob? No, we didn't. So just 1 and 3 tonight.
Oh, at 8, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I hate that. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Second?
Second.
Mr. Bell does not get a clean sweep tonight. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
You're unmuted.
All right, welcome back. We are up to item 14.1, being resolved that the Mount Hope Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in HIV cases. This is item 14.2. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Zupko. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Dawson,
Yes.
Ms. Gazino,
Yes.
Mr. Zupko.
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Minhas,
Yes.
Mr. Goldberg.
Yes.
Yes, motion passed.
Thank you. Item 15.1, be it resolved that the Commonwealth Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in HIV cases under middle and elementary schools. This is 15.2. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard, second.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Dawson, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Sibley.
Mr. Dawson,
Yes.
Ms. Gazino,
Yes.
Mr. Zupko.
Yes.
Ms. Lucid,
Yes.
Mr. Minhas,
Yes.
Mr. Goldberg.
Yes.
Mr. Lucy.
Yes.
Motion passed.
We are up to item 16.1. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard, second.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Guzino. All in favor?
Aye.
Buddy?